Alright, so the latest entry into the Dissidia Final Fantasy franchise has officially arrived with Duellum, which I believe is how you pronounce it. I decided to download it, check it out, see what all the fuss is about, and to my surprise, I actually had a lot of fun with it. It can be pretty addictive, so I'm just going to give you guys my first impressions of the game in today's video, what I liked, what I didn't like, and what I think can be improved upon. So if any of that sounds cool to you, feel free to click the like button, and if you're new here and you'd like to stick around, you can subscribe, and if you like Final Fantasy, you can throw some hype points my way. It's greatly appreciated and really helps out the video and the channel quite a bit. So let's talk about it. Alright, so a brand new Final Fantasy mobile game that might strike some fear and concern in the hearts of Final Fantasy fans, because when it comes to mobile Final Fantasy games, they can be around for 7 years or 7 months. You never really quite know how they're going to perform. But based on my experience, I hope this one sticks around. It's pretty fun. If you have an Android phone or an iPhone or a tablet, you should be able to download the game and play it no problems. It's pretty well optimized from my experience. I'm currently playing on an iPhone 17, haven't had any issues, although my phone did get really hot, but I did play for quite some time. Now, starting off with the premise, in true Dissidia fashion, our Final Fantasy heroes are transported to a different world. Although this time, they are transported to the world of modern Tokyo. And Tokyo has a bit of a problem because these massive and mysterious crystals have popped up. And with those crystals, sometimes come monsters who spawn and wreak havoc on the city, which is where our heroes come into play. They show up, take care of the monsters, purify the crystals, and boom, they're out of there, which has garnered them the name of ghosts, because they show up, they're in, they're out, no one knows who they are. It's pretty cool. Now, as far as things go, we just have heroes as of right now. There are no villains to play as, although Sephiroth, in true meta fashion, does show up to haunt Cloud. He even calls him a puppet at one point in time. He's like, have fun, with your friends. I'll see you later. So I don't think it's connected to 7 Remake, but I really love the running meme joke from fans of Sephiroth will just follow Cloud into whatever game he's in to torment him. It's kind of funny, but I have a feeling Sephiroth will probably come back and be playable, as well as other villains within the series, maybe like an Arden and Ultimecia. You gotta have Garland at some point, I would assume. But the interesting twist is that because they're in modern Tokyo, they have cell phones, they text one another, they have modern jobs. Cloud becomes a painter, Terra is a school student. And that's their way of blending in. And seeing the characters interact via text messages is actually kind of funny. And seeing a character like Rinoa, who's very sweet and bubbly, send these cute stickers to Cloud and the Warrior of Light is pretty funny. It fits with their character. And it's just kind of a different take on Final Fantasy that it's actually kind of refreshing. Now, you're probably wondering, how does combat work? Well, this is arena-based combat. It's boss fight arena-based combat, I believe is how they call it. So the whole objective here is you got 2 teams of 3, you versus the enemy team. And your whole goal is to defeat the boss that shows up in the arena, which I believe shows up about a minute into the match. I gotta be honest, I was so focused on trying to win that I didn't count the time it took for the boss to spawn. But once the boss shows up, you can't damage it with regular attacks. You have to be in what's called Bravery Burst mode to do damage with your abilities to the boss. And you're probably wondering, okay, how do I build bravery? Well, those crystals I mentioned earlier spawn all around the arena. You run up to a crystal, you defeat the enemies that are there before the other team does, and you purify that crystal, which grants your team bravery points. Once you reach the maximum amount of bravery points, which is 9,999, you can enter Bravery Burst mode, which is how you actually do damage to the boss. First team to defeat the boss wins the match. It's pretty fun, it's very simple, it can become incredibly addictive, so much so that I played for an hour and a half not realizing that an hour and a half had gone by. So I'm like, okay, I should probably go to bed. And the only reason I stopped is because my phone got really hot. And I'm like, I can't hold my phone anymore. So I went to bed, and this is how much fun I had. I dreamed that I was playing the game. That's a problem. And I might want to put the phone down a little bit more in the future, but the basic combat loop I think is pretty fun. It feels pretty good. The, whole idea of purifying those crystals, building up bravery to damage the boss. You can also attack the enemy team. You can incapacitate them for a brief period of time, forcing them to respawn at the beginning of the arena, catch up with your crew. So it is advantageous to use some of your abilities on the enemy team if you can, because the longer it takes for them to purify those crystals, the less bravery they're going to build, which gives you and your team optimum time to build bravery and take out the boss. And for those of you who maybe don't like the team-based aspect, I believe there is, or at least will be, a solo mode so you can play by yourself. I'm someone, again, who really enjoyed the team-based aspect of Dissidia NT. Working with other people, I thought was a ton of fun. I know a lot of people just preferred the one-on-one Dissidia, so if you didn't like NT and that team-based aspect, you may not be crazy about this one, although I think it is pretty interesting. Now, because it is a mobile game, almost everything is unlocked either through progression or by using in-game currency like MOG points, which allow you to pull for abilities or draw for abilities. It's all random RNG stuff, so you get lucky, sometimes you don't. You know how mobile games work. And you also get what are called growth eggs, which then power up your abilities. You can also get draw tickets to draw for specific characters. So I currently unlocked Cloud. He was my first pick. You get to choose whoever you want at the beginning of the game. And then I drew for a character and I ended up getting Zidane. I drew for another character and I got Prompto. So those are my 3 characters I can jump to from time to time now. But of course, it's all RNG. So, if you played any mobile game over the past decade, you're already used to this. I played a fair share of my mobile games in the past 10 years. I was a big fan of Marvel Puzzle Quest. I played that every day. I did my dailies. I was in a guild. I had a lot of fun. So if you're used to how mobile games work, none of this is really going to be a surprise to you, and it probably won't be a problem. Although I do have some concerns, which I will raise, a little bit later. You can compete in ranked matches if you care about your rank. There's also non-ranked matches if you just want to join in and have casual fun. You can do that as well. But for the most part, all the mobile stuff you would expect, multiple currencies, banners, stuff like that, it's all in this game. Nothing really new there. The game also does feature some really good music too, some really cool new electronic rearrangements of classic Final Fantasy tunes. Let the Battles Begin from FF7 is there. I believe Terra's theme is there. It's really cool. I really like this soundtrack. I hope they do release it on streaming services. There's some really good stuff here that really pumps you up for combat that I really enjoyed. There's also some really beautiful artwork. A lot of it you see on the abilities that you unlock. So I got a really cool looking cross/slash ability, which had this really cool anime art of Cloud from Advent Children just going crazy. Also, the in-game visuals look really good. I like the art style. Again, I'm not too crazy about the modern outfits for the characters, but all of their classic Final Fantasy looks look really good in my opinion. Now, to the negative. Because this is a mobile game, I do think the whole pay-to-win aspect will probably rear its head sooner rather than later. And that's just personal experience. I was playing, and about an hour after the game had launched, I ran into a Cloud that had a powerful Omni Slash already. And I'm like, geez, the game's been out for an hour, dude, and you already have that? So I think you could run into that problem of people who are just like, I'm just going to throw money at this game and I'm going to do season passes. I'm going to buy a ton of in-game currency and just draw and draw and draw until I get what I want. And then I'm just going to get the growth stuff and I'm going to power up these abilities. That does concern me, but it is a mobile game. Square's there to make money. If there's whales who want to throw money at it, they're going to do that. Because I have had a few matches where the other team just has a much higher power level compared to me and my team, and they just mow right through us. One ability with some regular attacks and boom, I'm dead. Or like 2 abilities and almost all of my health is gone. They just repeat that method and then we can never reach the crystal to actually gain bravery. So maybe we just sucked in those matches, or maybe the pay to win aspect could get really out of hand really quickly. And those situations happened in the ranked matches, which when you do rank, it's supposed to match you with people of similar skill levels and power levels. So maybe there's not a ton of people playing. Maybe they need to iron out some of the wrinkles in the ranked system. I don't really know. So I hope it's not too big of an issue. You don't have to do all that stuff if you don't want to. Like, I've played for like almost 2 hours and I progressed pretty far into the like season pass progression thing. So I unlocked just the stuff that they give you as like daily rewards and whatnot. So obviously the quickest way would be to spend money. So hopefully that doesn't become a problem. But again, it's a mobile game that can become an issue for a lot of these types of, PvP or PvE type of games. Another complaint, the controls, kind of wonky. Now, they do give you 3 different control methods. One that tracks your character and the camera as they move, so you don't got to worry about doing separate controls for the movement or the camera. The other one allows you to control the character and the camera independently of one another, which I don't recommend, just because trying to control those 2 aspects in the heat of battle, not the best. The third one maps movement to the left side of the screen and the camera to the right side of the screen. So in my experience, the controls were just kind of weird. I did have moments too, and I don't know if this is just me, user error, where it felt like my controls got locked up and I couldn't move. I couldn't use abilities, I couldn't attack, I couldn't do anything. So I was locked into my, idle pose, taking damage from the boss and some of the other player characters. So I don't know if I did something wrong there. I don't know if it's a glitch. I'm not quite sure. But the game does support controller. So I have yet to do that, but from what I've heard from some of the people in my comments of the Dissidia Duellum post I made recently, controller is where it's at. The game feels great on a controller, mapping all of your abilities to the face buttons, actually being able to use analog to control your character and the camera. I'm gonna have to try that out and see how it is, but I think that could be, the best way to play this game, because it is a little awkward playing on a phone and trying to move the camera or worry about your positioning. It's, not the best. Also, because it is a smartphone game, you're playing in a very narrow portrait aspect ratio, which can make surveying the entire arena really difficult, which means that players can very easily sneak up on you, or you might end up missing a crystal that has just respawned enemies that you could run to and build bravery points just because you don't see it. That's how narrow the field of view is. I think the solution to some of these problems would be with a PC port or a console port. I don't know if they would do a console port. I could see a PC port definitely happening, and if they were to do that, it would 100% be 16:9 widescreen, nice big view of the arena. I think it would look great. But I also do hope that they incorporate a widescreen mode for the phone version of the game. Just let me rotate my screen when combat starts. I get a much better view of what's going on. I think even using some of the abilities might be a little easier, controlling the camera and my character. I would really, really love to see that. But honestly, I think seeing like a big budget console version of this game where you team up with other people to fight like legendary bosses and monsters from the Final Fantasy series Monster Hunter style, I think could be pretty cool, especially if you have that Dissidia combat system. Or, and I've mentioned this years ago, a big budget version of Opera Omnia that utilizes the hybrid combat system from 7 Remake would be really cool. Or you could just use the turn-based combat system from Opera Omnia, which was a lot of fun. It still kept the Dissidia aspects of the gameplay intact. You had your bravery attacks, you had wall splats, and you had your HP stuff. So I think seeing a big budget Opera Omnia one day where you bring in all of your Final Fantasy heroes and some of your villains, you have a really cool grand story that you tell over the course of 20 to 30 hours, maybe 40, with that combat system could be super cool. I don't know if Square would ever do it, but that would be pretty sick. But those are some of my first impressions so far. Again, if you've played any mobile game within the past decade, you'll pretty much know what to expect when it comes to unlocks and those type of system mechanics, in-game currency. It's not going to be for everybody, and again, that pay-to-win aspect does kind of concern me, because you're playing against other people, and if someone can just spend money, roll for a ton of unlocks, and then just boost the ability and the strength of those abilities, they can just run over anybody. So that might be a bit of an issue. But other than some wonky controls, the narrow field of view, the game is pretty fun. Again, that gameplay loop is pretty solid. If I'm dreaming about playing the game, that means I'm probably really enjoying it, and it just feels good. Whether you're taking out people from the enemy team or you're defeating the boss and working together with other people, when you do like a combination bravery burst and it's you and your entire team, or you and one other person just doing your stuff at the same time, It's pretty cool. So those are just some of my first initial thoughts. It doesn't hurt to download it, give it a shot. You might have some fun, but again, I can completely understand where, a lot of people are coming from, where they're like, this isn't really Dissidia to me. I just want the arena fighter like we had with the first 2 games. I completely understand that. I hope we do get that again in the future. And what's really nice is that based on previous interviews, Dissidia's not dead. I don't see it going anywhere. They were just trying to figure out what to do with it. So I think in the future, regardless of what happens with this game, we'll probably still see some Dissidia stuff. Again, I would really love a, proper fighter, like a Tekken or in the vein of a Street Fighter or Soul Calibur with Final Fantasy characters. I think that would be sick. Or we could just get another arena game. I don't know what they'll do. But that is the video. I am Curious Corduroy. If you're someone who has played Duellum, let me know in the comments what some of your pros and cons of the game are so far. What would you like to see added? What would you like to see fixed? Let me know in those comments down below. I will see you guys in the next video. Please remember to always be excellent to one another.